in these white scary movies, these horror films, right? If you was to go out and poll 1,000 black people in random cities, states, or whatever, and you say, okay, there's this white horror film, right? And there's 50 white people in this movie. There's one black person, okay, and there's one Asian person. 50 white, one black, one Asian. Who dies first? Every black person you poll is going to tell you that black person is going to die first in this movie. Yeah. Now, if you do that same poll and you ask white people, they're going to say, oh, well, the chances are if you have 50 white people, the odds are there's going to be a white person that dies first. You know, like they're unaware of this thing that goes on in every white horror film. If you put me, with my two bad knees and bad ankle and bad back, and you put me with 50 white people, and I'm in a real life scary horror film, I'm not dying first. I'm gonna tell you that right. One of the white folks is dying first. I'm not dying first, man. So Tyler Perry comes out with this new movie, Divorce to Black. Now, Tyler Perry has a way of he's a lightning rod for like the black community and for conversation. All right, because these movies, these TV shows back in the day when he did the drama plays, they all depict like these, certain narratives, if you will. All right, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to read this this thing that went trending on social media here, and this is what this lady Sarah had to say about this. Okay, the spell that Tyler Perry has on y'all must be something serious, because that movie was trash. Talking about Divorcing the Black. Same old tired trauma filled with struggle love story with a different cast. You mean to tell me that girl was educated, came from 2-parent household that displayed what a healthy relationship looks like, but she chose to marry an abusive thug and stuck right beside him for years? That man clearly thinks that man clearly thinks the lowest of the black woman. Actually, black people as a whole. He stay feeding y'all with the same BS stories. Y'all eat it up every time. Y'all celebrate and identify with trauma, the struggle, love, domestic abuse, and thug life.
Oh, yes, okay.
Now, here's my take on that.
Shout out to Tupac.
There you go, thug life. Here's my take on that, man. I didn't watch this movie because I don't really like Tyler Perry movies. I'm not going to break my neck to go see it. If the girl I'm with want to watch it, I'll go to the other room. I'm just not interested in these Tyler Perry movies. It's not that, and I don't have anything bad to say about them. This is just not my type of movies. Like, movies and shows have been being made for a long ass time, and like I didn't like MASH. MASH was a huge show when I was growing up. I didn't like MASH. I just didn't watch it.
Yeah,
I didn't have to get so like. There's this one thing, and at the end of her post, she says, "Y'all say white people do all the time, but it's true. Like in these white scary movies, these horror films, right? If you was to go out and poll 1,000 black people in random cities, states, or whatever, and you say, okay, there's this white horror film, right? And there's 50 white people in this movie. There's one black person, okay, and there's one Asian person. 50 white, one black, one Asian. Who dies first? Every black person you poll is going to tell you that black person is going to die first in this movie. Yeah. Now, if you do that same poll and you ask white people, they're going to say, oh, well, the chances are if you have 50 white people, the odds are there's going to be a white person that dies first. You know, like they're unaware of this thing that goes on in every white horror film. If you put me, with my two bad knees and bad ankle and bad back, and you put me with 50 white people, and I'm in a real life scary horror film, I'm not dying first. I'm gonna tell you that right. One of the white folks is dying first. I'm not dying first, man. So don't give me the bad narratives and things like that. If those are the type of movies that he's making, and people are going out and watching these films and they're going to the movies and they're paying their money and this and that over the course of time. Now this one has a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes already, and things like that. So this one may not have hit, but in the past.
I guess like I've watched a lot of Tyler Perry movies. I think when he had like kind of the Medea stuff going on, like it was at the time it was a little novel. A lot of those movies were to me kind of lighter and kind of like
more comedy,
more family oriented,
family
comedy or whatever.
Yeah.
And I thought that was kind of his niche. They weren't super deep or any of that. But then somewhere along the way, I think he kind of lost the plot, retired the Medea character, and I know that can't go on forever. I'm not wanting it to, but like now he just has these like trauma based things. But like the stories are weak, the characters are shallow. They kind of rely on some kind of like trite, stereotypical behaviors, and they're just not really entertaining.
Yeah.
And there's no comedy in most of his more recent work.
No. And you know what?
Giving us?
I did watch Mea Culpa, I think that's the name. I did watch that.
Yeah.
And then same things like you said. It was more serious. It was more like this one. I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Everything you just named. Yeah.
And he's also a guy like too that like from a production standpoint, like, and what I mean by that is like your photography, your scenes, your props, they're always very cheap.
Yeah, from a cinematic point of view.
Like you're not getting like really good cinematography or just compelling stuff that's just visually appealing to watch, that you get in other types of movies. And so, I just, I think he's kind of run his course, and he should just kind of step back from this. And you would think like you're sitting on like 0 Rotten Tomatoes or whatever right now. Like as a professional, does that not bother you?
That has to be like Bronny going 0 for 20 in the 3-pointer and something. You got to feel some type of way. Yeah, that has to be what it feels like.
If you are a professional, if you care about what you do, that has to bother you.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't, like you literally don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Like you're a movie maker, a producer, and people think your work sucks. Yeah. And they're probably right. And for you to not care, like that's pathetic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and that's a good point that you bring it up, because if he keeps churning these movies out, that's kind of what that means.
Yeah, like what evidence do we have that this is bothering him?
Yeah.
Step away for a couple years, do something. I mean, like even just as an artist, like go to something completely different, and invest a couple years in developing that, and come at with us something that takes our breath away.
Yeah, because and to a certain extent, that's kind of what he did moving to this, but it's not working, right? Because he went. I'm not talking about the time taking the time. I'm saying he went from the lighthearted family comedy stuff to this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. So either you pivot back to that, to what you were doing before, and just do a better version of that, or like you said, take some time off and give us something fresh, new, different.
But again, get away from the cheap cinematography. Like get the money together, do something like tell a great story, do something really visual and creative and arty, and impress us. Like, make us, I mean, you look at a guy like, you look at like the career of like Clint Eastwood.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he, like even like as he's basically dead, he's still like produced like some really interesting, well-crafted films, and it's like, give us something, man.
Who's my guy? Who's that guy that had? Damn, what's that movie called? Get that off that nag. That had Samuel L. Jackson in there acting a fool. And it had Jamie Foxx and no. You know what I'm talking about. And he had Jamie Foxx. Jamie Foxx as the main character. It was like.
You're talking about Quentin Tarantino?
Yeah.
Django.
Yeah. Quentin Tarantino is the guy I'm talking about, though.
Yeah.
Like his work is just, it's.
Well, I mean, he's in a whole nother space.
Yeah. He's
his movies are just very uniquely him.
Yeah, he's outside of the box
for sure.
But still,
sure.
yeah.
But I mean, and what I'm kind of saying is like, Tyler Perry could defend himself by saying, "Hey, I this is my niche. This is what I do."
Yeah.
Much in the way that Quentin Tarantino does. But like to me, you got to restore your credibility as a director, as a producer, and do something really good. He just cranks out crap at like a rate. Like he's got all these half-ass TV shows that are just like poorly acted and not intriguing, and it just take a step forward and be like, man, I got to create something that's worth a damn.
Yeah, I used to like the plays, Ray, back in the day.
I'm
That's
not a
kind of where
play
it started
guy.
out.
Yeah.
I'm not, but I don't know. They were interesting.
They're too confining.
Entertaining.
They're too confining to me. But I think he shoots his movies like they're plays.
Yeah.
Like all the scenes are like just low budget, like sitcom level stuff.
Yeah.
Like you don't see anything that's visually appealing.
And even though I agree with you on that, it's funny because he's invested so much money into that in the studios that up there in Atlanta. Like he has his own fucking studios. Like you know what I mean? Like that's crazy in itself. And for the product to come out like that, it is.
But that's typical of a studio.
Yeah.
Like what do? You have this studio and you can shift this, that, and the other thing, but you're still basically in the same spaces.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
what I'm talking about is like you do something where you go, like we mentioned Yellowstone before. You go out to somewhere and shoot something that's just that's different, or you do a movie in a city and you kind of capture the vibe of a city while you're telling a story, like the aesthetics and all that.
Yeah.
But like everything to him, it literally feels like I just shot this in my studio.
Yeah.
And that's it. Like sitcoms are shot in studios, man.
Yeah.
Films need to be out where the people are, man.
Gotcha.